Bobby, how do you use scripts in your business every day to get buyers, sellers, investors, past clients, sphere of influence? And what are your best scripts that you're using?
It's very, very simple. I've got a one pager that I put together over a decade ago. And I just kind of memorized this one script and I used it over and over and over again, whether it's at a party, whether it's at a on the phones, whatever it is, I basically just followed kind of the same format. And in a minute, I'll pop it into the I'll pop in a Google Doc for not only this, but I've got thousands of other pages of scripts that I've been collecting for years and years and years. So you're going to get two links here in just a second. But the first thing that I would say when it comes to getting on the phone, because that's really the whole thing, right? Most of this is going to be on the phone. Some of this will be door knocking, whatever you're into. Just get really good at it. And when it comes to getting on the phone, I always like to stand up. That's why I have the stand-up desk. Sitting down, you feel, not as energized. All of a sudden, you're kind of tired. You don't feel as good. But when you're standing up, you're standing tall, you're smiling, people will feel that on the other end. And the one thing that I've always trained every single agent on my team is to find out motivation. That is the key to all scripting, is what is their motivation? What problems are they dealing with? And how can you fix those problems? And early on in my career, I used to be like this. I think I learned that from you, Pete. You were just talking all the damn time. And so, and then I slowed down and I started asking simple questions like, do you own or do you rent? Do you need to sell before buying? All these questions are all in order, and motivation is like the third question. What's motivating you to make a move right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to be moved by the date that you just told me? What would happen if things didn't work out and you couldn't be closed by this date? So these are all just basic questions, but it's over and over and over again. If I'm at a party, I'm using the same script. Hey, how long have you lived in this house? Of course, I've already looked up the information. I already know what they bought it for. I already know all the comps within 6 months if I'm going to a friend's house and I know that they're the owner. Okay, so that's something that everyone should be doing. But the key with scripting, in my opinion, is mirroring them. So if they're talking really loud, you're talking really loud. If they're talking soft, you're talking soft. But where most people fail is in the nurturing process. So you can do great with all the scripting, but then if you don't nurture that lead over time, then that's a huge, huge problem. So one of the things I'm also going to drop in the chat here in a minute will be scripts from Ylopo. And this particular script book, haven't seen one quite as interesting. It teaches you the flow. So if someone takes the time to actually read through it, they will really understand the nurturing process much better. And, because you could have all the scripts in the world and be the best salesperson in the world, like Carlos Gutierrez. That guy could sell, anything, right? Look at that smile. So, you could be that good, but if they're not ready and they're not motivated, then it doesn't, you're not going to push them over the finish line. You could try, but then sometimes if they're not ready, they will pull back and then you lose them. So I think it's important to understand where they're at in the process and work along that timeline, and then you'll get the business. But you got to stay in touch, and that's where most people fail. They don't stay in touch. They don't have a system. My system, once I put them into my CRM, I'm always sending them something of value. So whether it's cookies, brownies, we're sending them a send out card. These are all templates that are easy to do. I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines that is send her an email and then bam, she pops it out. I see the order. If there's anything I need to change, I can change it myself. so that, makes it very easy. And then you're putting in a drip process to follow up with them, whether it's automatic or making those phone calls. I'm more of a phone call kind of guy. I don't do a lot of drip of just crap, like especially email drips. I'm not a big fan of. I just like to pick up the phone and I text them a lot. And that's pretty much it. And, again, solving their problems. What do they need help with? So
I like that. And you keyed in on something super important. You have to ask questions. The person that asks most questions wins. So you have to ask questions and you have to be a great listener, because people will give you gold when you're listening. You don't, just remember, guys, when you are working scripts or you're trying to build a relationship with somebody, it's tough to build it if you're talking all the time. It's way easier to build it if you're listening and you make them the most important person in the room.